The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results, and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning, everyone. Andy Brownell, News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM with Robin Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results, and it's a new year already, Robin.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah, you as well. Good
I feel
to
like
see
I
you
haven't
again.
been here in a while.
Haven't been here since last year.
Yeah, well, even before that, because remember I had Lynette in, I had Gary in, so yeah.
You have a good holiday period?
I did. It was crazy busy. My daughter and I and a girlfriend and her daughter decided to gallivant off to New York City for a few days. So we were there like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday before Christmas. That was a fun place to be right before Christmas. All the people, and the shopping in the windows and the, I took pictures of like probably 25 fur coats. I mean, it was just really fun. I really had a great time. Came home and hosted the Christmas Eve and hosted Christmas Day. And yeah, it was a lot, but it was so much fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And then when it's over, you go, oh.
Yeah, and on New Year's Eve, we were invited to a wedding. And
wedding on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, and people said to me, you're invited to a wedding on New Year's Eve. I'm like, well, it's kind of cool. It's like New Year's Eve, the turn of the decade. And to be honest, Andy, if I wasn't invited to a wedding, I probably just would have been home doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it was a fun excuse to get dressed up and go out.
Well, you think about it, too. If you are getting married, well, I wonder if you could get a cheaper rate on a room.
Maybe. I mean, it's New Year's Eve, so maybe not. But it was awesome. It was just a festive party. Everybody was wearing their sparkly dresses.
2020 glasses?
Yeah, well, maybe. I had those, but I didn't wear them at the wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
Well, we ended a year. I can't believe it's already 2020.
I know it.
2019 just went boom, went zipping right by. Maybe now's a great time to review the year that was.
Yeah, it was a really good year. I mean, there's been so many years where I've said this has been our best year yet in real estate, and 2019 was definitely our best year yet. The Gwaltney Group sold 350 homes and sold almost $92 million in volume.
Oh, goodness.
Well, when the average sale price in Rochester hovers around $240, that's a lot of transactions.
But 300 some homes is
350.
It's a small city.
Right. No, we have a large market share, which is awesome. And, a lot of times when we've had our best year, I think, boy, it's going to be tough to top that. But when I look at what everybody's predictions are and kind of look at all the factors that play into it, it looks like 2020 could definitely top it and be our best year yet.
Well, that's something to look forward to then.
Definitely. I get a lot of people stopping me and saying, how is the real estate market? Are you still busy? And I'm like, surprisingly very busy. So I'm a visual person, right? So I keep these whiteboards on the walls in our office, and it's literally like wallpaper around the room. And every time we do a transaction, it goes up there, and each agent on the team has their own color marker. So you can come in and you can see, anything that's in green is mine, and, that kind of a thing. So people can pop out and see their transaction. It's kind of a fun, motivational, in-house competition in a very friendly way, right?
I like that kind of thing.
So I'm just a visual person. It just makes me feel good to watch those boards fill up and then have to double them up because, we've sold so many. But at the end of the year, it's the opposite. We have to erase it all, and then you see all that clear whiteboard and start over. But each year there's usually some transactions that we wrote the offers in December, but they haven't closed yet. So we get to put those back up there. So we'll start the board with like 8 or 9 or 12. And this year we started with 30.
Oh,
so we already have 30 transactions pending and ready to close. So it's been business has been very good.
So much for not selling or moving homes in the middle of winter.
Exactly.
Right?
And again, the weather has been so mild, and it plays such a huge part because it's easy. I mean, all last week, 30 degrees, so it's so easy to just hop in the car if you're not battling a blizzard or you're not battling the sub-zero weather to hop in and out and go look at houses just like if it were spring or summer.
And guess what? The days are already getting longer.
Yay. I know that's the thing. It's like a double-edged sword, right? Because when it's pitch dark, people don't usually want to go look at houses. So I typically can get home by 6 or 6:30 in the evening instead of 9 or 9:30 in the evening. But at the same time, you get home and it's dark and you just want to put on your PJs and go to bed.
But now, even at 5 now, there's light in the sky at 5
Yeah, I'm
already.
excited. Yeah.
So looking back to 2019, I was going to ask you, did you notice any new trends locally as far as the marketplace is concerned, or are things kind of the same as
Well, you know,
they have been for years?
I think we've noticed coming on in the last couple of years, but more prominent in 2019, that people are going back to simpler times. People are not as into the great big houses. It's kind of causes a little bit of a tough situation because a lot of the people who want to build the high end, and when I say high end, I mean, $800,000 up. Okay. Not that 5 or 6 or 700 isn't high end, but I'm talking about the really high end of the market. So like 800,000 up, people want to build nice houses. But in order for that to like appraise and be justified, it typically has to have a lot of square footage, and these people a lot of times they're not interested in 5,500 or 6,000 square feet. They would be really content with 3,800 square feet of high-end finished home.
Oh, I see. The materials and that sort of thing.
But even if you do a custom build, it's really tough to get something to appraise out if you don't have the square footage to back it up. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, so the banks need to see the square footage.
So for our market, like clearly if you're in New York City, like I just was, you can have a condo. And we're on these bus tours and they're like, and the top floor of that building just sold for $14 million per condo. And I'm like, really? It's like crazy.
Do you know what you could get in Minnesota for that?
You know what you could get in Rochester for that? Exactly. But anyway, and then the other problem is so the lots to build these high-end houses are $175,000, $250,000. I've even seen them for $300,000 for, a couple acre lot. Well, it's kind of hard to spend that much on the lot and then put anything but $1 million+ house on it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of a interesting situation.
But it's kind of a neat part of the market that there's a demand now for not the, quote unquote McMansion, but the more reasonable sized home with high end appointments or the marble and
the finishes.
Special woodworking and all that.
The Cambria and all of those cool things. There's so many cool things. It's so much fun. Every time I go into a new house, it's like, I want to change. I want to do my Scott's like, you are dangerous. But it's really easy because the new latest greatest is always better than what you've had or what you've been looking at.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Especially now with the lighting that they're able to put in with
Isn't
all
it
the
something?
different LED options
It's
and
really
chain
fun.
lights. And
it's really fun. So this past week, I got to tour the Berkman. I've been talking to you about the Berkman.
Oh, yeah. Right by St. Mary's.
Yes. And I got to tour it on Thursday, and it was amazing. The thing is the units, they're apartments. They're nice, but they're not like, drop dead gorgeous. They're just nice apartments, but it's the lifestyle of the building. For those people who don't want the upkeep of a house and they'd rather be a renter, it's tough for me, a realtor, to wrap my arms around that. But there are people that want that, okay? And so they have it all. I mean, they have all kinds of common spaces where you can hang out with your friends or, the other people that live in the units, or bring people up, like big areas with TVs where you can watch games, or outdoor rooftop pool and fire pits and dog park. And there's a really nice gym and sauna. And I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's really cutting edge for Rochester.
Okay.
I mean, I'm excited about it. It's
That's
really
the way
fun.
they described it when they
It's
toured
true.
Earth.
Yeah, it's true. It's really cool. I said, as I was touring, I'm like, I wish these units were for sale. I would love to be able to sell these condos. I mean, there's such a need for that. We've talked about that before. Because when I talk about people liking to go back to simpler times, a lot of people really love walkability. They really love walking to all these cool little, like across the street, you've got Cafe Steam. People love those cool little coffee shops and the little breweries, the microbreweries that have popped up all over town. And you'll see like that Time grocery store over there by
Miracle Mile.
Yeah. People like that walkability. And so all of these neighborhoods around the station, all of the Kutsky Park and all of this Memorial Parkway, those are all super popular. People really like those. And so the houses aren't grand. It's just the livability that they're buying.
proximity to the downtown.
So that's kind of what I guess, to answer your question a
Yeah.
really long way, what I've seen for trends in 2019.
Well, that's a big shift when the things you're talking about are like the condominium side of what you're talking about, and also the mismatch for size of home and value of home. Those are things I think we're probably going to see the market address over time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to, because there's more and more demand for it.
All right, we're with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results, another one of our Saturday morning visits. We'll be back in just a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM at 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. We're back with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. I'm Andy Brownell on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. It's a brand new year. All sorts of opportunities out there. We kind of started talking about trends in the marketplace as far as real estate is concerned, and I guess that kind of leads to the obvious question, Robin, looking to the new year, 2020, and you mentioned you sounded pretty darn optimistic.
I feel like, the writing's on the wall, right? The interest rates are super low.
Still
the economy continues to grow, and the inventory, we seem to have more and more of a surplus of inventory. So I think between all of that, we've got, when people are approved and they've got great rates and there's more jobs, there's more people, and there's more houses available because so many people have started to build. And so the houses that they live in are going to be for sale. So I feel like, it's going to be a fantastic year.
I think, too, if you look at some of the economic numbers, the folks who might not have been able to get into the housing market at the lower end of the pay scale, they're seeing pay raises.
Correct.
Their salaries have been going up quite steadily.
Yep, I agree. I know my son and my son-in-law have both been out at IBM in the financial analysts out there, and they've been there about 6 years. And wow, I mean, they're great jobs, and they continue to get, I don't know if they call them promotions or just ups, whatever they are. I don't want to misspeak, but I mean, they keep making more money, and those are big departments, and they have a lot of people that work out there. So I mean, they're very good jobs. So I do feel like there are some good opportunities, and I know that Mayo, of course, we all know that Mayo just continues to grow and grow and grow, and it's awesome.
And we're adding, I think the last census numbers showed that we're adding somewhere between 12 and 1,500 and even more, sometimes 1,700, 1,800 people per year.
Right.
And that's in the city.
Right.
That's not surrounding area. That's in the city. They have to live somewhere. That's why folks ask about all the apartments you see going up, and they always say, who's going to live in there? I go, well, just in the last 3 years, we've added almost 5,000 people to the city. And
from a realtor's perspective, all those people that are living in those nice apartments, they're going to love it. And then after a few years, they're going to be like, wait, why am I throwing my money out the window? It's time for me to buy a house. So all those people that are moving into all those apartments are our future clients.
Exactly.
So, it's exciting. It really is. And when I look at the numbers from just like December or just the end of the year from 2019, things like days on market actually were the highest in October, and then it was fewer days even in November and fewer days even in December. So we were back to like an average of 20 days on the market for listings in December. Yeah. And the average price kind of did the same thing. It kind of started to creep back up toward the end of the year. So I think we closed out the year with an average median price of like $250,000.
Are you thinking that come this spring that we might get back into that hyperactive?
I do. I mean, I do. I feel like it's really unavoidable because we do have an influx when those residents match and they come middle of March. Middle of March, they find out where they match, right? And as soon as they find out that it's Rochester, then they need housing. So yes, some of them are going to be seeking out these great new apartments, including the Berkman, although it's quite expensive. I mean, it'd be much more affordable to buy a house.
No,
not unless they've got some, help from mom and dad maybe or something. But they're not cheap apartments, but they're really nice. Anyway, so they're going to be coming in, and yes, it gets busy because it's sort of like a race against the clock. You're like, I got to get in there first and get the best house before they're all sold because there's only so much inventory. So they start coming about the last weekend of March, and then the whole month of April, it's like constant, incoming residents, and the sales go up, and people know that if they've got that house somewhere in that 200 to 300 price range, that's the time to put it on the market. That's when that, big group of buyers is going to come that's looking in that price range. So yeah, it'll be, I hope, really fun and exciting like it has been the last couple of years.
Well, last year it seemed like that period even extended way past
It
April.
did, just because they bought up everything. So then the young couples getting married or finally making the plunge to move in together or go from renting to buying. I mean, there's a lot of people, again, in that price range. It's where, the majority of the buyers are approved, right? So,
And we're not really adding brand new houses at a really brisk pace. It's picked up a little bit. But
yeah, and not necessarily in that price range because it's really tough. Building has become pretty expensive. And then with all the different fees that the city charges, and there's just lots of stuff. So it's really expensive to have those things. I was just gonna tell you something about something new I know that's coming, but I've got to bite my tongue because we have new rules in place, and that is that we can no longer talk about coming soon. You know how I used to come on here and talk to you about coming soon? Well, I guess it's something that the National Association of Realtors has decided that it creates an unfair playing field, so to speak. So if I know your house is going to be going on sale and I know it's perfect for one of my buyers, I cannot tell my buyer, I can't show it to anybody. Yeah, it's interesting. But we do have something on the MLS where we can say that it's coming soon. And so we can advertise it so people know that it's coming. But then if I say Andy's house is, this great big mansion in Rochester that everybody's dying to get into because the famous Andy lives there. But line up, people, because you can't start seeing it until June 1st. So then it's fair no matter if that client's working with me or working with another agent. So they're trying to create, just a more fair use of the multiple listing system.
Okay, so this isn't like a government regulation.
It's our National Association of Realtors.
Within your
profession. So right, within our profession. So far, our local association hasn't really set up, because I think it's sort of like, the government says this, but then each state says what they want kind of thing,
Yep.
So now our own local government will set up what our rules are. So as of right now, today, nothing has changed, but that's what's coming down the pipe. What's so crazy is I can share it with all the other agents only at RE/MAX. So like if I know something, I can tell every single agent at RE/MAX so they all know about it. But if I tell somebody who works at one of the other real estate companies, so in my opinion, there's never going to be...
It doesn't make any sense.
I know, but it's such a huge advantage to work for the biggest company that does 38% of the market share. We're the ones that are going to know about what's coming on the market.
Yeah.
So I kind of like it.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Although, even though I can tell them, they can't tell their clients or show their clients until the day it hits the market.
Nothing can move until the day of the filing.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's always things that are changing, and we're really lucky. We have...
you know what I think that's going to do, though, when you get into that hyperactive spring mode, that's going to apply even more pressure
kind of
on the bidding process.
Yeah, it is. I'm a little nervous about that because that multiple offer situation, as I've talked about many times, can cause so much stress, not just for the buyers.
Yeah.
It's really stressful for sellers. It's really stressful for us agents. It's just a stressful time. But I'm still not complaining because I'll never, ever complain about being busy or about good business. I've lived through the times when the real estate market wasn't quite as lucrative, and this is a whole lot more fun. I promise you.
You've told me, that's the one thing that really sticks in my mind after all these discussions is a home will sell for what it's worth.
Exactly
and the market plays out.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I hear all the time people say, "Oh my gosh, Robin, I see your commercials. I hear you on the radio. I see you everywhere. You're doing so well. What are you doing with all your money?" Yeah. With all that comes more expense, right? And it's great because the truth is, and I know you and I are friends on Facebook, so you probably saw my post, but I am really grateful for all of our success. And I am really grateful for the fact that our business is so good. But the most rewarding part of it for me is the fact that it just gives me the ability to help more people, to get more involved with more things and to do more for others. And that's the most rewarding part of my success.
Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group Remax Results with us this morning. We'll be back in just a few seconds on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group Remax Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Andy Brownell, News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group Remax Results. It's our Saturday morning Rochester Real Estate program. And Robin kind of led into this talking about her good fortune and her ability to kind of even offer more of yourself and your organization to community causes. Off air, we were just talking about one that's coming up very, very quickly.
Yeah. And, the fun thing is that I've always, and you know this, I've always been big about giving back to the community no matter what level you can. And sometimes maybe that's just your time and your energy. It doesn't always have to be money, right?
Right.
So, there's a lot of things we can do. Like it was fun to go, and one of the agents that, oh my gosh, this just melted my heart. One of the agents that works at our company, Remax Results, but up in the Twin Cities, does this toy drive at his house every year. And he's been doing it for 30 some years. And he just invites friends over and has all kinds of food and hors d'oeuvres and bars and cookies and all the things we ate way too much of at the holidays. Anyway, he says, come on over, stop by, and bring something for the Toys for Tots.
Fantastic.
Right? And so I have to tell you, I literally had tears in my eyes when I walked into his house because his living room was wall to wall, 4 feet deep gifts that he and his wife have been personally responsible for collecting. Now, they didn't pay for all those gifts. They had people bring them, right? And it's just like, be a community, join your efforts. And it's like, that is what the world is about. And it's so awesome when we do what we can to help each other. So, when I get approached to sponsor events, I'm always game. It's like if I can afford to do it and I'm available to do it, I'm in. So most recently, I purchased a table at the upcoming Oaks event, which has been around for 20 years, but under a different name. It used to be called Beat the Odds.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, and so OAKS is the new acronym that they've given it, and that stands for Overcoming Adversity, Keeping Strong.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's just a nicer, cooler way to say beating the odds, because basically what it is kids who've been through a lot and, they've had to deal with stuff
sometimes unimaginable.
Yeah. And it's like the idea of having money and going to college is just really tough for them, out of their reach, right? And I remember one year when I went to the event, there were 2 twin sisters up for it. And one got the $2,500 scholarship and the other one didn't. And I went to the bathroom and I came out and Scott said, I know what you're thinking. And believe me, by the time the night was over, the other sister had that scholarship too. But, it's like these kids they work so hard and my hat's off to them. It's just amazing. So it's a fun thing to go and listen to the stories and hear how hard these kids have worked to get to where they are.
And inspirational.
Yeah, and it's the winners get, like I said, a $2,500 scholarship to RCTC, which is just amazing. And it's probably one of the most heartwarming. It's a great way to kick off the year, as far as the fundraising
and that's
events.
Coming up like next
Thursday,
week.
January 9th. And I'm not sure if there are still tickets, but I'm sure they'll still take donations because I know they had a goal of raising something like $69,000 this year, which is pretty awesome. And I bet you they'll do it because we live in one of the most giving, generous communities that I can even imagine.
There's a lot of folks who live in this town. Took some classes out there at RCTC.
Yeah, me included. That's where I got my first degree. Anyway, it's just a really cool. When I used to work, when I used to run the Rochester Better Chance House, we had one of our scholars there win the Beat the Odds award, and that was when it was really small and it was completely different. It's really grown and it's a really nice event. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, that's Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you have on your calendar that's fun and part of the community?
Yeah, I actually am. Gwaltney Group is a sponsor for this year's Social Ice.
Oh, great.
But if the weather doesn't change, there's not going to be much ice.
I don't think you have a lot to worry about there.
Well, we've had a couple years, where it's been pretty melty down there.
I just remember last year. That's all.
Yeah. Some years, last year was so cold I didn't go to Social Ice, but yeah. So the bottom line is I'm hoping for just perfect winter weather. Social Ice is a fun event. If you've never been before, I highly recommend it. My friends down there at the Rochester Downtown Alliance are doing such fun things in the city. I just give them kudos beyond kudos because they are just really changing it up and making it fun. So Social Ice is February 6th, 7th, and 8th this year.
Just right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
I can't believe we're already talking about February.
Yeah, it's only a month away.
Social Ice, and of course, this is the time of our program where I have to turn things around and say, if you're in the marketplace for either buying or selling a home, how do I get a hold of Robin Gwaltney or a member of your team? Well,
it would be our honor to help you, and you can call my cell phone anytime. That number is 507-259-4926, or gwaltneygroup.com will get you in touch with any one of us.
Fantastic. Until next week, Robin, good to see you again.
Happy
New Year.
Yeah, same to you.
Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group Remax Results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.